What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here, and over the course of the last couple days, we've seen some cool details come out about some sort of new Nintendo Switch. Either a console revision or possibly a Switch Pro with new features, new games, and something that could really beef this hardware up. Now, this has done two things. Number one, Nintendo fans have been getting whipped into a frenzy trying to imagine everything this extra new hardware might do. And secondary, it's actually getting a lot of people to ask questions about the PlayStation 5 and Xbox 2. So I spent the weekend really trying to dig around and find any details I could, really to cement what's going on with the next generation. And today, I actually want to try and answer the question of when these new systems are very likely going to be revealed. Now, right up front, I want to say the number, which is I think that in the next 6 to 8 months, we will be seeing either the PlayStation 5 and Xbox 2. Most of the stuff I'm hearing behind the scenes is that Microsoft wants to go first, but they're just not quite ready yet. And I do think that for a fact, the PlayStation 5 at this point is very, very nearly done. Now, why am I thinking that? Because even if you don't realize it, many of you have actually already seen the first PS5 games. One of them, in fact, leaked out just a couple days ago. So if you've been watching a lot of big news headlines and seeing some news channels, you may have heard talk about a new Harry Potter game. And what's interesting about this is the fact that WB is being so ultra secretive about it. If I even show you a single screenshot of it in this video, it'll actually get taken down, completely deleted, and I'll get a strike by WB. They don't even like me talking about it. But I really want to dig into the nitty-gritty details. So a 2-minute video came out that was displaying lots of different stuff about it. But instead of being things like big story trailers or a cool cutscene or something to try and establish the universe, it almost appeared to be much of a tech demo. There was a lot of special effects in here that showed times where someone was using a magic spell to blow up an entire castle only to reconstruct it brick by brick seconds later. The reason why is because this is not meant to be a trailer. This is not meant to be a teaser. This was meant for internal target testing. Basically, showing one part of the studio, another part of the studio, what this game is going to do on PlayStation 5 hardware. Yes, that's right. This is actually the first PlayStation 5 game many people have ever seen. Now, I bet that's pretty intriguing, but on top of that, I think that they're trying to really lay the groundwork. As of a couple weeks ago, I've definitely heard some concrete stuff that PlayStation and Xbox are completely focused on the next generation. While they're very happy with the success that they've gotten out of their current hardware, the thing is they need to start prepping for the next console life cycle. Specifically because even though I really love the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, these consoles did not have the best launch games. I think both of them really came out very, very sparse. And that's part of the reason why, if you look at the numbers, they didn't sell amazing out of the gate. It took 6 months or a year for them to really finally get steam and get people to get behind these projects, is because it started to get the games that people deserved. Well, both of these companies realized they cannot repeat that mistake. With hundreds of millions of people having both these machines, they realized that in order to get somebody to jump onto the next console cycle, you need to have stuff that is ready to blow their minds. And that's why they're currently only working on future stuff. I've definitely read exact reports that say Sony now is only developing PlayStation 5 games. Third-party studios are allowed to make stuff on the PlayStation 4, but here, going forward, they only want to get ready for that next generation. Same thing with Microsoft. Now, this one, I'm a little bit fuzzier on the details, and I can't tell exactly, but it seems like a lot of these new studios that they're acquiring specifically exist in an effort to try and expand their launch lineup, to make it where we see really big or really cool stuff come out back to back, because I mean, there's no really other way around it. The number one problem that the Xbox One has had is the fact that they're not flooding us with games the way the Xbox 360 did. Now, I bet you're wondering, Dreamcast guy, this all sounds great. I'm totally on board. But why do you think it's coming out in the next 6 to 8 months? Why do you think these systems are going to be revealed in early 2019? Well, there's a lot of rumblings about this, but the biggest one to me is really the fact that PlayStation has decided to cancel PSX. The PlayStation experience is purely a fan expo. It is something that's made to get their diehard audience whipped into even more hype. That's why they do things like the reveal of Last of Us 2, really long developer interviews kind of talking about the ins and outs of major projects that are about to come out. It's because they want to try and get the people who already love their console to basically become even more dedicated to buying stuff on it. So what does it mean if they don't come out? In case you haven't heard the news, they have officially canceled PSX this year, which is extra strange because they did it so last minute. I mean, we're literally just a few months between, well, just when it'd be coming out, when everybody would be walking out on stage and revealing all their big secret plans. And that's because they gotta save up their juice. They need to store a big ol' extra big ball of energy because once this next reveal comes out, they need to blow minds. The reveal of the PlayStation 5 is something that I think has everybody very much worried inside of both Microsoft and Sony. You see, on the Microsoft side, I've read a lot of stuff that basically says that Xbox wants to come out first. They think that it is incredibly important to throw their machine out the second they can, to make sure that they are not only first, but something that's really going to grab your attention. And the PlayStation 5, they're trying to get out when it's good and ready, but they also know that if they go second, there's going to be less hype. So now I think both these people, even though they are giant rivals, are trying to basically just be in a friendly joust to get ready to see who can go first and who can go second and who can truly melt brains. So I think that within the first couple months of 2019, they are going to try and put their piece on the board. I mean, at this point, Microsoft has all but confirmed it. At E3 this year, they actually came out on stage and talked about the fact that they're working on a new family of Xbox consoles. One of them being Project Scarlet, which might be a streaming box, it might be a special service, or it might be the Xbox 2. So much of this stuff is a little bit fuzzy, but I'm very confident that we're going to be seeing more very, very soon. But what can this really mean? I think what's really essential here is the fact that everybody is about to get really, really quiet. There's so many giant projects that are in development that nobody can even talk about. More than anything, let's face the fact that the gaming industry loves secrecy. I mean, you can catch people making something and they'll just deny it even exists. Like, for a fact, we all know the fact that Borderlands 3 is currently being made. I mean, even Gearbox has come out and shown little tiny tech teasers of the fact that it's currently being tinkered with behind the scenes. So does that mean that that's probably going to be an Xbox 2 launch game? It's hard to say. There's so many big things like that that make me think that perhaps we'll see a new Final Fantasy. Maybe Final Fantasy 16 turns out to be a PlayStation 5 launch game. But along with this, I really think that we're going to start to see the curtain finally come down. So many really big projects that are really ramping up. Things that are trying to get as close to they can as finished. That way they're ready for this next console cycle. I do think that it's very, very imperative that Sony and Microsoft reveal their systems before E3, so before mid-June. And the reason why is because this year was arguably one of the less cool E3s. The Electronic Entertainment Expo is supposed to be all about hype and giant projects and mind-blowing reveals, and this one was very, very muted. There were very few really big shockers just coming out to melt our faces off. And I think that's because they're trying to save up everything they can for next year. That way they can actually come out and blow us all away the way we hope. Come out on stage and show us things that were never before thought possible. Big, huge things that don't just manage to be brighter and shinier, but push the envelope to make people happy that they have their current systems and extremely excited for what could be coming next over the horizon. You know, like Horizon Zero Dawn 2. But what do you think about this? Do you believe in all the rumors that basically say that we're getting these next consoles extremely soon? I still think the fact that we're going to be seeing them either late 2019 they'll be released or early 2020. I think that's a little bit soon, but I think it's going to be a big thing about how they handle it. They need to try and put their cards on the table as carefully as humanly possible. Thanks so much for watching, gamers. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Woo, man. I'm so nervous about this stuff, and I'm so freaking excited. Oh, man. 2019, let's freaking do this. Oh, hey. I was just playing a little bit of Grand Theft Auto on my Darth Vader PSP. Are you curious what I'm going to come out with next? Well, if you click this button, you'll be subscribed to be the first to know. Also, if you click over here and here, you can see my latest review and my latest top 10. I promise, it was super good. Or it was really bad, and I'm sure you can just make fun of me in the comments. Either way, it'll be a lot of fun. Thanks so much for watching.